Hello and welcome to a short video on how to lose body fat. Now this is going to be clear-cut, science-based, what you should put into place if you are struggling to lose body fat at the moment. We're going to talk briefly about calories. I'm going to get you to download an app called MyFitnessPal, and I'm going to get you to go onto a website called TDE Calculator to find out how many calories you burn. If you can get through those three things, you are going to save yourself a lot of heartache in the future. No higgledy-piggledy BS. This is how you lose body fat. Of course, there's some complexities along the way, but put this into place and you will get the ball rolling. The first step to this process is going to be going onto a website called TDEE Calculator. Just Google it. It's the first one that will come up. It's your total daily energy expenditure, how many calories your body burns each and every day. Now, just as a quick side note, a lot of people associate calories with exercise. They burn calories exercising. You actually burn most of your calories sitting on your backside throughout the day, and your body burns a certain amount of calories every single day. If you eat less than that consistently, your body will burn your body fat as a fuel source and you will lose weight. So how do we find that actual number? And what you're going to do is type in TDE Calculator, go onto the website, stick in your gender, your age, your weight, your height, and your activity level. It's going to spit out a number for you. And in this case here, this 35-year-old male, his maintenance calories are 3,100 calories. That is how many calories he should consume every day to sustain his body weight. If he eats less than this, he's going to lose body fat. If he eats more than this, he's going to gain body fat. Now, I don't know one single person, maybe a few bodybuilders, that eat the exact same amount of food every single day. This is your average daily maintenance. So that means that if you want to sustain your body weight, on average through the week, you would consume 3,100 calories. But that could look like 2,900 on Monday and 3,300 on Tuesday, and etc., etc. Now, we found maintenance calories. How do we actually know how many calories you're consuming? There's only one way to do it, and that's to download MyFitnessPal. It's an app on your phone, or you can actually just get the website version. MyFitnessPal has over 100 million users at this stage. It may seem a little bit tricky the first time you download it. After 2 days, it'll feel like a breeze and it'll save you a serious heartache in the future. And on this app, you're going to track absolutely everything that you eat where possible. Step 2 is to change the calorie goal on MyFitnessPal. Once you download it, it's going to ask for your name, your email, your height. It's going to try to give you a number itself, but most of the time, I would say 95% of the time, it's going to be wildly off. It's going to give you a very, very low amount of calories to work with every day. It's going to make it very hard to stick to that plan, and most people end up just quitting. We want a sustainable approach here. So you're going to override this by going into the goal section on MyFitnessPal. You're going to go into the calories, carbs, proteins, and fat goal. As you can see here, what we're going to do is we are going to get our maintenance calories, which in this case, the 35-year-old male, his maintenance was 3,100, and we're going to subtract 500 calories from that. So this man is going to have 2,600 calories per day. Now what we want to do is put in our carbohydrates, proteins, and fat percentages, because carbs, proteins, and fats are what make up calories. Now the percentage split that you work with is down to preference. We do want to make sure that you're getting enough protein on board each day because it's very filling and it's very satiating. So how much protein should you consume? Anywhere between 20% up to 30% of your diet. Why the discrepancy? Well, if you're somebody who is very overweight, having 30% of your calories worth of protein is just a serious amount, and you might not be able to hit that number. On the other hand, if you're somebody who is just hungry all the time and you'd like to just be full as long as possible throughout the day, you might prefer a higher protein diet at 30%. So you can input the 30% here, and then you got to break down your percentages between carbohydrates and then fats. Now, carbohydrates and fats are down to you. It's down to preference. When calories are equated, people who eat more fats and less carbs, or more carbs and less fats, will still lose the same amount of weight. What's going to make this work is going to be a plan that you can actually stick to. So if you like a higher carbohydrate diet or a higher fat diet, so be it. A standard split, if you just want to get stuck in, is 40% carbs, 30% protein, 30% fats. Now you have your calorie and protein goals into MyFitnessPal. It's time to start tracking. Track your breakfast, lunch, and dinner at the time that you are eating, or as close as possible. If you just wait until the end of the day and try to backlog everything, you will forget something, no doubt. Food amnesia is real. That's always the sweet things we forget about. So try to track in and around the time of eating. And don't forget things, oils, butters, milk and tea, sugar. If you have a sneaky biscuit on the counter, packet of crisps, all of those things add up. So try to be as accurate as you can. And I will say this, don't expect to be hitting exactly the calorie goal that you have every day. A 5% deviation on a day-to-day basis is totally fine. Don't stress about it, even up to 10%. As long as it's kind of going over some days and then under some days, it's totally fine. Don't stress about it. Step 3, build a consistent exercise routine. And this is not going to start with some jumping around the room like a jack in the box. HIIT workout's going to melt fat. Bullshit. You need to start with a step count target. Your steps over the course of the week are going to be the biggest contributor to your calories burned through exercise, not your hard training sessions, not your running, your cycling, your swimming, unless you're doing an awful lot of it. So if you can set a consistent step count target and aim to hit that every single day over the course of the week, that is going to add up significantly when it comes to burning calories. A good place to start is 7,000 to 10,000 steps per day. And if you're already hitting that every day, just bump it up by 2,000. Challenge yourself. When it comes to planned exercise, running, swimming, cycling, weight training, pick something you enjoy. Try to do it 2 to 3 times per week. It is absolutely not essential. Some people just don't like exercising, will not do it, but still want to lose body fat, and that's totally fine. You can lose as much body fat as you like without doing any planned exercise. Now, it goes without saying, it's very beneficial for your health, but I'm not going to force you or say you have to strength train, you have to run, you have to swim, you have to cycle. Find something you enjoy because it has to be sustainable. No point in doing something if you absolutely hate it. A couple of times per week if you possibly can, builds the habit, builds the routine. And I like to say, when it comes to fat loss, exercise in a way is kind of like making your bed in the morning. It sets the tone for the day. You got one small win, let's move on to the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And it's all the small wins that accumulate together that end up accumulating into this one massive win, which is your weight loss target. Now, one thing I don't want to do is underplay the benefits of exercise, weight training, cardiovascular exercise. It's amazing for your health. But this is important because there's so many people out there that think they have to do planned exercise to lose weight. And that is simply not the case. Step 4, start tracking your progress. We need to see tangible improvements on a week-to-week basis. How do we do that? Well, use the weighing scales. What kind of weighing scales? Use a digital weighing scales. Please don't go back to the Stone Ages and use one of those mechanical ones that tells you you're either 14 stone or 15 stone. There's many numbers in between there that you could be. So use a digital scales, any will do. Now, the only time you're going to weigh yourself is first thing in the morning. Any other time is invalid. Jumping up first thing in the morning is the most consistent. Throughout the day, you eat different amount of food. You might go to the toilet, you might not, you might be dehydrated, whatever. There's just way bigger discrepancies later in the day. First thing in the morning, jump on the scales, track your body weight, and away you go. Now, how often? 3 to 7 times per week is what I would recommend. Why so often? A lot of people look at that and say, that's a bit hyper obsessive, isn't it? Well, actually, jumping up on the scales once per week, let's say you jump on the scales Monday, you do everything right for the week and you jump up next Monday and you're actually heavier. And you're like, what is going on here? Well, actually, you could have just had a low weigh-in on week 1 and a high weigh-in on week 2. Water fluctuations, you could be constipated, diarrhea. It could be anything. There are so many things that contribute to weight fluctuations on a day-to-day basis. So to make this as accurate as you possibly can and to peel yourself back from that day-to-day emotion on the scales, you're best off getting multiple weigh-ins per week and taking the average. And then what you're going to do is you're going to compare average of week 1 to average of week 2. And with the 500 calorie deficit we have put you in this case the 3,100 for the 35-year-old male, minus 500, it's a 500 calorie deficit, he should see about a pound or half a kilo dropped on the scales each week for several weeks before he has to change anything. Troubleshooting, there are always problems along the way, no matter what way you go about this. If you're not losing 1 pound on average each week, given the 500 calorie deficit I've recommended, don't be alarmed. Less is totally fine. A pound or a half a kilo is a big stick of Kerrygold. If you know the ones, not the ones that are €2.50, the ones that are €4, the big ones, that's a pound. And it's the same density as fat. So stick a few of those in your pockets and tell me that's not a lot of body fat to come off your frame in a week. One of those a week, you're laughing. Now, if body weight is moving extremely slowly, say you're dropping 0.1, 0.2, maybe 0.3 of a kilo over the course of the week, we can reevaluate for sure. And the first thing that we're going to do is make sure that you're tracking your food accurately. As I previously mentioned, it's so easy to forget about olive oil, butter, coconut oil, milk and tea, sugar and tea. Maybe you got a biscuit or a croissant or a scone when you're out at lunch, cappuccino, latte. All of these things do creep up. And another big one is if you're the cook at home in the evening time, eating off the spoon before you actually put everything onto the plate. So if body weight is not dropping as fast as you want it to, don't jump the gun and drop your calories. Think about how accurate you are with your tracking. Are you weighing your rice? Are you weighing your pasta? How often are you eating out? What do you think they're doing in the kitchen there, dousing it in extra butter? So it is important to make sure you're trying to be as accurate as you possibly can before you look at anything else. Now, if you turn around and say, Connor, I am tracking everything to the T, it's time to drop your calories. So over the course of a week or two, if your body weight is not dropped down or it's dropping extremely slowly, it's time to drop your calories down by 200 to 300 calories and then continue on. If on your diet you are extremely hungry, first thing to do is check your food quality. I always use Pareto's law, 80-20 rule. 80% of your diet should be from whole food sources. Think about fruits, veg, lean meat, seeds, beans, nuts, legumes, all that good stuff you should be eating. About 80% of your diet should come from whole food sources. 20% from whatever the hell you like. That can be chocolate, ice cream, whatever you fancy. That's a good approach to go by. And the reason being is, obviously you want a diet that's mainly based on whole food sources, but a big part of that is the food volume. Think about fruits and veg. 500 calories worth of fruits and veg versus a donut. It's night and day which one's going to keep you full throughout the day. They're also going to be higher in micronutrition, antioxidants, fiber, all the good stuff that you know you should be consuming. So that's the first place to look. If you have this checked off and your diet does consist mainly of whole food sources, plenty of fruits, veg, lean meats, nuts, beans, seeds, all the good stuff, well then there are a couple of things you can try. And the first one that I would potentially look at is creating a shorter feeding window. Say eating only between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. And this works particularly well for people that have a really long day. You're just up for longer hours. You're around food for longer. You're going to be more hungry. I find this works with a lot of people, but also backfires with a lot of people. So you need to be careful with it. And is it magic? No. You know, it's this buzzword of intermittent fasting. There's nothing magical about it, but what it does, it allows you to self-impose a strict start and end point to your food. And rather than thinking, oh, it's 9 o'clock, I'm kind of hungry, I'm going to go eat something, it turns into, I don't eat until 10 a.m. That is me. I'm hungry at 9, I don't really care because I start eating at 10. And then what happens is from 10 to 6 p.m., you're pretty full because you have more food in that shorter time period. And then as well as that, in the evening time, where most people tend to snack, you just cut that out yourself and impose that limitation on yourself. And for some people, it does make life a little bit easier. But as I said there, nothing magical about it. Suits some folks, doesn't suit some others. And that is it, folks. The 101 on how to lose body fat. Now, if you put these things into place, I promise you're going to get the wheels turning. I'm not saying there's not going to be any trials and tribulations along the way, some tweaking here or there, but this is a fantastic place to start. And if you really understand how this is working and how if you consume less than your body needs on average per day, your body has to metabolize and burn your own stored body fat, and that's how you lose body fat. It's the only way you can lose body fat. You're off to a great start. A lot of people get caught in the trap of thinking of detox or ab workouts to burn the fat in their stomach. Doesn't work. Your body will metabolize body fat when it doesn't have enough energy going in there. If you have any questions or queries on anything I've gone through here today, or you're trying to get through some trials and tribulations yourself, please feel free to reach out at any time. I'm more than happy to give you a helping hand. No question too big or too small. Lastly, I appreciate you watching this video. It means a lot. Best of luck on your fat loss journey and have a fantastic day.